Welcome to B.A.Showoff, the Dance Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Becky.
And I'm Alexandra. And whether you're a dance coach, dance parent, or a dancer yourself, this is the show for you. Come join us as we hang out today with Liz Nieves, Nutrition Therapy Practitioner from Life and Nutrition by Design.
Welcome, Liz.
Thank you, girls, for having me. I
really
appreciate it.
No, we love to have you here. We've had people reach out to us to talk about nutrition on the show, so we figured you were the perfect person since you've been part of the dance world for many years, and then you got into nutrition later on. So we want to hear your story. So can you give us a little bit about your background and how you got involved in nutrition?
Okay, so I've known you beautiful ladies for a very long time, because I was the owner of Elo Gear, and I was in the dance world for 24 years. I was a costume designer and dealt with dancers on a one-to-one basis, and their parents and coaches and choreographers all over. And it only kind of made sense for me to kind of go back to my stomping grounds and really generate, bring the new acquired knowledge that I have to the people that I always served before. And also because I understood a lot of the needs that they had, because one of the coolest things about having my old business is that people would come to me and I would design like one-to-one, whether it was a choreographer for their groups or the parent that came for their solo, for their child solo, but they would share their entire lives with me. And those are the best memories I have. It was never, HR, it was never the money. It was honestly and even still till today, people will stop me in the street and be like, you made my daughter's first costume and I will never sell that. Or you made my daughter's graduation costume and I will never sell that one. And we have the best memories of you spending time with my kid. Those things is really what kept me there for so many years, because I'll be honest with you, my heart was always in the health and wellness field. I started that business out of a necessity because my mom had a heart attack and lost her job. And it was like, here, go pay all the bills when I was 20. That's how that business was born, out of pure necessity. But I always wanted to be in health and wellness. I was actually a bio major when I was at FIU. I wanted to go to medical school. So I finally got to a point in my life where life kind of come full circle. This came out of a necessity as well, but a very purposeful necessity. When I sold Elo Gear in 2022, I did so to become a speaker and a writer in the health and wellness field. And in nutrition in particular, I didn't have that in the plans, but God, you plan and God laughs. So in this case, my husband got a stage 4, was diagnosed 8 months after me selling Elo Gear. He was diagnosed with a stage 4 gastric cancer. And so nutrition for cancer patients is abysmal, and honestly, it's really made for the patient to fail. It's terrible. And I knew that, there was a lot of, he had his oncology team, he had his integrative doctor teams, but no one brought in the nutrition and the day-to-day. And I knew, that's the hole I had to fit and to fill. And so I did. I went back to school and I got a certification as a nutrition therapy practitioner. It's a mouthful. And so a lot of what I do is really, the reason the word therapy is in there, it's not very different from what I used to do with Elo Gear is, the byproduct was something else, but I really dealt with people's hearts. And now nutrition is a relationship that we have with food, is really what it's about. And so that's a lot of what I bring into the table, whether you're a cancer patient, going through treatment and needing that, as well as all the support and that relationship, which is a lot more strained, or a person who just wants to stay healthy and really have a new relationship with food that is healthy and using it as medicine for longevity and just living just being healthier hormonally, just having nice hair. Mm-hmm. I mean, down to you want better hair, you want better skin. Really, we got to look at your gut. We got to go in all the way in. So, that's pretty much.
And we grew up with very bad eating habits as dancers.
Oh, God, yeah.
We were not trained to be eating healthy food and worried about, having a certain amount of protein, having a certain amount of carbs, or, what you should and shouldn't eat. I mean, I grew up having McDonald's almost every day. My lunch every day was a Snickers and a Diet Coke. And that's how I grew up. And, whatever, you live that way and it was okay. But as you get older, all that, you started looking at that and you're like, oh my gosh, it really did a number on me. Like, you can't live like that anymore, and you can't, live off of driving through McDonald's or, just having a candy bar and just keep going.
But I think more important, what I have found with when I speak to dancers, because I speak at schools and I speak a lot to dance teams, because of course I went back to my stomping grounds and all the relationships that I had to go back to them and serve them. And it's way deeper than that. We've been taught, especially as women, that the less we eat, the better we're going to be, the skinnier we're going to be. So that is the biggest thing that I want to really hone in and say, guys, this is how we build disease. This is how we have the body break down at a metabolic level and really start creating a terrain in our bodies at a cellular point that builds disease over time. And the body, there's a great book that's called The Body Keeps Count. And basically, the body at some point in time, whether it be in your 30s, in your 40s, and we're kind of seeing it earlier and earlier now, is going to pass you the bill and be like, hey, you were negative here, 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 and here. And so now we're seeing all these like hormonal issues, so much more like Hashimoto's. You're seeing cancers in like young kids at 14, pancreatic patient, the first pancreatic cancer patient that was 14 years old, I think was diagnosed like a few years back, like 2 or 3 years ago. So a lot of this boils down to that relationship that we have with food and that we've been taught so wrong. Mm-hmm. And then women are under so much pressure, and these girls are under so much pressure to not just perform, but not just to look good, but to perform. But they're not feeding their bodies to perform at the level that they're being asked to. Mm-hmm. So that's really the most important part. I'm not saying you can't have a Snickers here and there, and you can't have ice cream, and you can't live and enjoy life, but it's knowing how to play with, understanding that it's what you eat, when you eat it, and how you eat it, right? So those 3 things are kind of the things that I like to teach, especially when I go into the schools. I teach this thing that's called the Ultimate Plate, like macro guide and the Ultimate Plate, and it's on my Instagram, and you can download it for free. It's an 18-page. It has lots of pictures, people. It's not an 18-page book, but it has a lot of really cute pictures, but it's kind of like an introduction and kind of like little quick guide as to, hey, this is how to build each and every plate that you're going to put in your mouth, right? And then the rest you can play with. So
it makes sense. And something that I've noticed, especially with kids now, I mean, I know when I was young, there wasn't as many options as there are now. What I notice with kids nowadays, with Uber Eats, with, DoorDash and all that, they're just living off of fast food. Like, there's moms work now. When I was young, my mom didn't really work, so she made a home cooked meal every single night. Moms work. It's very hard to live like that. And I think that kids need to be educated to understand that they could help out. They can make their own prep meals for the week. They could, eat healthy, and they don't need to have, all something cooked for them every single night. They could do it themselves, or if they're going to buy something, what the right thing is to buy. So correct. I think that they need to be educated. They just don't know where to go to get educated.
Exactly. So 2 things that you said there. So it's not just like if you are going to order Uber Eats, right? Like having and being intentional. The first thing starts with, yes, the knowledge, right? Like an awareness. Like, okay, I'm not feeling well. I'm super exhausted after every practice. I'm starving before every practice. And at that point, you're already making a poor choice because you're already hungry. You're going to grab whatever is available to you then and there to get you through the next 2 or 3 hours of rehearsal, right? And so a lot of it is saying, let me create a pause in the system, right? And in the way I've been doing things, because 1, my body is showing me that I'm not okay. Maybe you have like full acne. I'm depleted all the time. I have major energy crashes throughout the day. I'm super hooked on sugar, which is what I see when a lot of these kids that I speak to. And saying, you know what, I'm going to just start by, and I always say start really small. Start tiny, because how we're going to introduce a new habit is by not being overwhelmed. Right? And it can't be misery, because that sucks. Nobody wants to be miserable. And just start by having healthier snacks with you in your book bag. And that's what I tell parents to start with. So now when you are hungry, you're going to grab for something that's really going to nourish you. And that's not just nuts, people, because those are really high in calories. And they can bring on a lot of things. Yeah, it's a healthy fat, but it's not the end all be all, right? So 1, start with a healthy snack. 2, knowing how to build that plate when you are going to order from a restaurant, because I eat out. There's specific restaurants that I don't go to. Obviously, there's a range of everything, right? There's like the really crappy restaurants. These are like okay, and we can do these. And just knowing what to order from there once you have this information and understand, like, okay, this is what macros are. I speak to girls and they're like, what are macros, right? So we're looking at what are the 3 macros, guys. This is simple, right? So it's actually protein, healthy fat, and carbs. There's a little bit more of a breakdown into that. There's plant and animal protein. There's fats that are, trans fats, and there's carbs, which are simple and complex carbs. And we can go into that however you want to do that. But more importantly is that there's a lot of tools out there. Parents do work. Parents are exhausted by the time they come home. We're using our countertops to, open Uber Eats bags and DoorDash bags versus like have home cooked meals. Same thing. It's being intentional and understanding maybe we do have to do some pre-work, and maybe you cook 4 days a week and the rest you order out. Or maybe it's like a meal delivery that you do for a certain amount of days, not 7 days, because that gets boring.
Yeah.
Right? Knowing how to order at a restaurant. Because people will tell me, do you ever eat out? I'm like, I eat out every lunch. I don't pack my lunch. I don't like to pack my lunch. I don't want to. I'm always on the road. I'm seeing clients sometimes. So I do eat out. There's specific places I eat out, and I know how to order, and I know what to put on my plate. And then, like the snacks. So I think that, yes, we all live in mayhem. We all are running around. We're super strung out for the most part. People have 2 and 3 kids, and you're going from baseball to dance to, the song and dance that we see in all of the dance teachers, and the dance moms. But I think that, once again, this is a perfect timing because the new year's coming in, and it's more like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be intentional about this. I'm going to make this as a priority, and starting with something just the snacks and learning how to work it from there.
So I feel like something that I learned, I think probably the day I turned 30.
You're 30?
I'm 31 now, old. But I think like the day I turned 30 was realizing how much the way I ate, the exercise I did affected even things like my hormone levels. And I feel like as teenagers and these kids, growing up, that's such an important thing for people to be aware of and how much it affects your body. Do you feel like kids come to you noticing that, or parents come to you noticing that?
Totally. So a lot of the things is that they'll have like very painful periods, right? So a lot of that can actually be controlled with how we eat and understanding our cycles as women and how to eat for that and how to sustain our body for that, right? And when to rest and how much to sleep, right? And recover. And the other thing is that they don't say it in terms of hormones, because that's like a big word that's like kind of like mysterious, right? Like, what the hell's a hormone, right? Like, what do they do for us? But more like, oh my God, I have a lot of headaches, or the energy crashes, right? They're definitely like, oh, I know it's hormonal because I get a lot of pimples, right? And then you get a lot of pimples during certain times of the month. So that's how they speak to me, but that's how they are connected to their body. So, and what my intention is to get them early on to really know this information and not go through all the pains that probably you felt. And we can sit here and be like, oh my God, I totally had this. And I remember I would get that and I would suffer with that. There's no need to go through all that suffering. And even me, like, one of the biggest things I've learned from doing this is how much I didn't know and how much of the information was wrong. And here I was every day, I could pound my chest and say, oh, I was super healthy. We were super healthy. Because I've always been a triathlete. You've known me for a long time. Yeah. And I've never been an overweight person. I'm not saying that weight is all things. I've always looked good and my skin is good.
You did marathons and
triathlons. I've done a half Ironman. Like, come on. But I can tell you, I was not healthy. Internally, at a metabolic level, I was not healthy because, just because I have an energy level that I can, and a front, to be honest with you, right? Like, I'm one of those people that I can put a face. Like, if you need me to do something, I'm going to show up because I have a lot of work ethics and I have a lot of things that I'm like, you do what you need to do and we're not going to pity party about it. So I will go and kill something and then go back and be like, oh, I'm exhausted. I'm dead from that. Well, why do we have to live like that? Right? And more importantly is that these kids know that it affects their brain. I get a lot of like, oh, I have so much anxiety. Right? And people with anxiety will either overeat and anxious eat, so they're snacking all the time, and then they're eating above their caloric intake that way they should per day on pure crap, and not eat enough food of the real whole foods that they need to be having, And that's why they're having every symptom that they're talking about. They have brain fog, they can't focus, they're anxious all the time, they get stomach pains, all these things. And then you want them, especially with dancers, to go out there and perform and be judged by it. Mm-hmm. And be judged. That is a lot of pressure, guys. Yeah. That's a lot, an insane amount of pressure. I think dancers are like spectacular human beings because they have to every day put themselves out there to be judged more than the regular person who's just being judged. I mean, you're literally standing on stage to be judged. And you
not just that, but as dancers, you're in front of a mirror every single day. Correct. You're seeing every little flaw, everything that's not perfect.
You're in tight clothing or like a sports bra.
When I was younger, I was teaching every single day. I would compare myself to the kids because I'd be standing in front of them, looking at myself in the mirror and being like, look how much thinner they are. Look with their leg. I can't do that. And you're judging yourself on a daily basis, but there's no way around it. You've got that mirror there telling you every single thing. So I think one of the problems that we have as dancers and kids have is that if they're skinny, they think they're fine. Right. They don't think there's anything wrong, and they don't change their ways, not understanding that, you're super skinny now.
And that follows them
throughout life.
Their entire life. Right.
And they never get over that, understanding that it doesn't matter you're skinny or fat. If you eat the right way, you're going to be healthy.
But you're also going to lose weight.
Yeah.
The more you eat, if you're doing it correctly and you're doing it right and understand how to, once again, what is the macros for your activity level and your age range and boy or girl or woman or man, that's important because then, once again, it's just data. And now you're using it in your favor. It's the same thing as knowing how to drive a Tesla or like a stick shift versus a regular car. You'll just have tools in your toolbox to know how to use them. And the other thing that I think is really important is to say, because you're being judged daily, minute to minute, and seeing that when you know that you're doing the right thing, you feel good about yourself regardless of what that mirror says, because you're proud of who you are. Because you're like, wait, I know how to do this. Because I think the anxiety comes too from not knowing. You're like, okay, I have all these problems and I feel like this, but I don't even know how to do that. I don't even know how to fix it. That's where anxiety and that uncertainty comes. But I think once you start giving people an understanding of like, oh, wait a minute, I know instead of having that Snickers bar, maybe I had some hummus, some carrots, an avocado, like even guacamole with some chips. Like these are healthier snacks that you can put in the book bag versus the Snickers, right? I did the same thing. I played basketball, but I used to have I'm not kidding. When you said that, it was like I had the image of myself before every single game. You need that burst of energy. You need that energy. You're about to perform. I was running down the court for an hour and a half, an hour. I used to have a Snickers ice cream bar.
Oh, yum.
Because I know, right? And that goes to another conversation, right? Like you gotta like what you're eating.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of what I see too is that these girls, because they're so hooked on sugar is very addicting. It actually sets off the same receptors as heroin in your brain. Mm-hmm. They've done scans of this. So it's a very addictive thing. And it changes the way your palate in your mouth is. So how parents will tell me like, well, I can't even get them to eat like a broccoli. Like how can I get her to eat healthier? So once again, intentional, having that conversation like, hey, you know what, you feel like this, like this, like this, like this. This is what the information is. This is how we're going to help you. This is what we're going to do probably as a family or, I think it really should be something that if you got to fight at home to make this happen, that's a lot. That's already a lot against you, right? So the idea is, I think it's informing the parents, having the girls have this understanding and empowerment, and then learning how to apply it. So know that to kick off that sugar cravings and develop a new palate starts by introducing foods in a way that is enticing. Example, I hate broccoli. Well, I'm a nutritionist. You hate broccoli. You're supposed to. Yeah, I hate broccoli. Till this day, it still smells like feet to me. Do I eat broccoli? Yes, I eat broccoli. Now, I started that at like 44. But how did I start? I started by putting probably 5 pounds of Parmesan cheese on it and truffle oil, right? And salt and lime. And I masked it in ways that I started to eat broccoli. Then I got to the point where like, you know what? I actually really like it and I crave it. And then I was like, you know what? I feel so much better when I eat this versus that, right? Like if I eat something that's super fried or burgers or like and I'm not saying burgers are bad, but like, you know what I'm talking about, like McDonald's or anything like that, and I'm bloated and I look like I'm 3 months pregnant within an hour of eating, now I feel bad about myself. I'm feeling down, I'm stressed out, my clothes don't fit right. You know what, I might try that broccoli again. And little by little, you actually start to develop the palate, meaning your taste buds. And little by little, these changes start. I used to love milk chocolates and Kit Kats. I used to have them at my office, right? Like the little bite-sized things. I mean, it's super addicting. I decided purposefully, I'm like, you know what? Dark chocolate is amazing for your period. Like when we're on our period, it's a great snack to have, especially when we're having any of these cravings. This is great. It's got a lot of magnesium. It's really good for your muscles. Fantastic. I'm not going to eat 18 pounds of chocolate, but I'm going to start by replacing the milk chocolate, Twix, and Kit Kats with a little bit of dark chocolate. I started with like 60% and then kind of worked myself up. Now, I swear to God, I had this conversation last night. I was like, somebody was eating just like regular chocolate, whatever, these sticks or whatever, and I was like, ugh. I looked at it and it grossed me out. I cannot have a Twix now. Flat out cannot do it because I get empalagada. Like, I'm just like, ooh, I don't like that. It's way too sweet.
Yeah.
But that took time and that took intention, right?
And it's a lifestyle change. At the end of the day, it's
Correct.
not a diet. It's not a temporary fix. It's lifestyle change,
Correct.
which I think that especially dancers go through things like crash diets, that they're like, I have a performance and I need to
So unhealthy.
not eat, or I need to...
That's normally the go-to.
Yeah,
I'm
like...
not going to eat.
Right, just not eat, or I'm going to have a piece of cheese. Like, it's... What you want to do is something lasting, something that's going to be a lifestyle change, something that makes you just... It sticks with you forever.
Right.
And obviously, I think that there are times where, like, sure, you can have one bad meal once in a blue moon, but you might not even want that at that time.
That's what ends up happening. So this is what I tell people. I'm like, if you're going to incorporate any new habits, number one, if there's a book out there that I recommend to every single person, not just because it's got nothing to do with nutrition, but it's Atomic Habits. If you really want to introduce a whole new way and lifestyle, have your child on Audible, and you yourself as a parent, have this in the car while you're taking them to school, you know, and have them listen to some of these things, because he has a lot of like little hacks on how to introduce new ways and new things into your life that are going to be healthy, because that's really what we're talking about here. How can we support our bodies so we can continue to perform and be the best at what we're doing? That's really what we want for our kids, and they want that too. They want to get out there and they want to kill it. You didn't practice for 5 months to then totally crash for competition. Mm-hmm. So I think even as choreographers and as teachers and as studio owners, this is something that really needs to be like honed in and brought in. If you really want ultimate performers, think about it from an athlete's point of view. Any professional athlete has all of this. They get all kinds of like health, you know, the nutritionist, they have a personal trainer. Like in the dance world, that doesn't exist. No. And that's so sad. So I think that, you know, once again, starting really small, and first of all, get somebody to help you and help you understand. I'm not trying to promote myself here, but I'm just saying, if you don't know, then you need to go get the questions from somebody who does, like the answers, and then start introducing things in a way that is sustainable for your life, right? So like your life and my life might look very different. My kids are a lot younger than yours. I'm still running around to 3 different practices. Your kids drive, right? So you introducing something new to your life is going to probably be either easier or a lot more feasible than somebody that has 3 kids and are still going through it, right? So a lot of that is understanding, what is it that I need to do? And then this is my life and how I'm going to start putting it in, and not having unrealistic expectations, right? Like sometimes I tell people, I'm like, we're going to do this for a whole 2 months, this one thing. We're not going to overwhelm it. And then it becomes part of your day. And then you're like, no, man, I felt so good. I have clients tell me this. I'm like, man, they're like, I slept better, I'm not bloated, and my mind is clear. Holy moly. And I did that in 2 weeks. Okay, now let's just stay on that so that we don't go back and revert, right? Because it's easy to go back to our lifestyle, especially when life gets hard. When things get hard, we go and revert right back to old habits. So yes, I agree with you in the sense of like, this is a lifestyle. I don't agree with diets. I think you build a lot, especially the yo-yo diets that our dancers are known for. Not only does it give you stretch marks and cellulite in your body, you don't even build muscle. That's another thing with dancers. They don't eat enough protein to even sustain the level of rehearsals and you know,
Pounding
constant
on your
pounding
body,
on
yeah.
your body. Like, it's not even a thing. And then they look for carbs because they're so depleted. And they turn to carbs. Runners are very similar in that way.
Yeah. How do you feel about carbs? Because that's one thing that everybody is, you know, no carb diet. You shouldn't have any carbs. But then,
not true.
how can you not have carbs and survive a day? So what's your take on that?
Okay, so carbs are really critical for your brain because your brain needs sugar and healthy fats. Those two things. Your brain, in order to have a clear brain, in order for you to have energy, so you actually, studying for a test, you'll burn more calories than going to go run for an hour. So this is how important it is for you to have carbs. Let's talk about carbs really quick. So there's simple carbs and complex carbs. Simple carbs are ready, quick energy. Breads, pasta, rice, any kind of candy bar, sodas, these Starbucks drinks from hell that I please do not buy any of that stuff. And then so many dancers live on it. Some of those drinks, just on a side note, have as many calories, like the pumpkin latte has about 600 and something calories. For you to sit down and have a 600 calorie meal, you'll be eating for 30 minutes. But we're okay with sipping a 600 pure sugar, 62 grams of sugar, okay, in less than 10 minutes. And now, if you want to talk about disease, you want to talk about anxiety, you want to talk about pre-diabetic, you want to talk about fatty liver, which is being shown in a ton of kids, that's the quickest way to get there, okay? So, number one, simple carbs are quick energy. So before a practice, having a simple carb is going to serve you very well. But there's crappy simple carbs, like a candy bar, versus like pasta with some chicken. You got your simple carb, you got your protein, now you're going to go out there and kill it. Right? Complex carbs are what? Veggies. Okay? Complex carbs are going to sustain your blood sugar more stable over a long period of time because the release on glucose is longer. So you're also going to be fuller longer. Another reason that happens is like you have all these simple carbs and you get like a really big spike of sugar and then you have that crash. That's another reason you're having these constant crashes is because most of the time, most people's plates are simple carbs. That's the problem. And not enough protein and definitely like no fat because God forbid that's going to make you fat, right? Mm-hmm. No, on the contrary. What keeps you full longer and not having these cravings and not being stressed out is going to be protein and healthy fats and complex carbs. So that plate that I build actually has all three. That's the thing with carbs. Like, yes, carbs. There's bad carbs, there's simple carbs, and then there's complex carbs. Bad carbs are simple carbs and they're candy bars and things that have like a million processed crap in it. So definitely I tell people that plate has to have an intentional carb. It has to have the protein. And then the other thing is the healthy fat. So if you want to ask me about that, please do, because that one is like, if you think carbs are a conversation, fat is a whole different.
Yeah. So talk to us about these fats.
Okay. So for years, right, marketing has done an amazing job since the 80s, right? And I think maybe a little bit before, was like low fat everything. Low fat, low fat, low fat, because it's bad for your heart. It makes you gain weight. It's like clogs your arteries. So now, right, after 30 years or whatever, we're seeing a much higher increase in Alzheimer's. We have so many women with so many hormonal issues. We have more PCOS than ever, like for girls with issues with their period. All these things, right, because we don't eat healthy fats, but we'll eat trans fats. Mm-hmm. And you're eating a lot of unhealthy processed things that are creating real damage inside. And we're having all of these crashes all the time because healthy fats, biggest thing other than being amazing for your brain, is that they keep you full longer. And just try this. Have a breakfast where you have eggs, sourdough with a little bit of butter, which is a healthy fat, by the way, and don't have avocado. Don't. And then time yourself. Be like, okay, I eat breakfast at 8 in the morning, and then look at your watch when you're hungry again. Just do this. This is, I always tell people, I'm like, don't believe me. Go do your own little science experiment. The next day, have the same meal, but add like half an avocado. Okay, like you can put olive oil on it, you can put some, lime and some salt, and time yourself again. I guarantee you, you're going to last without being hungry easily an extra hour, an hour and a half. The other thing that I want to make sure we touch upon here, because once again, it goes to like the anxiety and the stress and the mental, ups and downs that these kids deal with, is that whatever is happening at a gut level is going to be happening at a mental level, because through our vagus nerve, we have a bidirectional communication between our gut and our brain. So our gut really truly dictates whatever's happening up here more than your brain influencing your gut, right? So I tell people that's why when you are hungry, we make a lot of irrational decisions. We get that term hangry, right? Why? Because you're actually putting your body in a fight or flight. And so now your brain can't even focus because you're stressed out, but it's really a gut issue. And most people don't know this, but serotonin, the happy hormone, right? 70-80% of it is made in your gut. It's not made in your brain. So a lot of these mood changes and the depression that we're seeing with kids is because of their poor diets. So ADHD, so important to address the nutrition aspect of things, as well as all the other pillars that maybe can contribute to what's going on, right? So yes, so every plate, carbs and healthy fat, and do the science experiment and let me know.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I'm a parent and I work and I've got 3 kids and I'm running around all the time. What healthy snacks should I pack in their lunch boxes during the day so that they have something healthy that is not going to take a lot of time for me to have to put together?
Okay, so I have a list of this, which I'm happily could share, which I give to all the the teachers when I speak at their school, and it's actually Amazon links. So one of my favorite things, believe it or not, is like beef jerkies. Any of so I believe one of them is Paleo Valley. It's a great company that has really clean products. So those are, you could probably have like one of those sticks and it'll give you a good 45 minutes of like energy, right? And it fills you up, and then before you get hungry again, because it's a snack, it's not a full meal. So very important, a snack is not to replace a meal. 5 snacks are not to replace a meal. So I want to make sure we say that. So, but to answer your question, beef sticks I love. Once again, you can buy a lot of these hummus little things and put some veggies in there to try and change it. If they're fighting it, maybe they could just put like some blue chips or some of the pita chips and things like that. The thing with snacks is that there's a lot of processed stuff out there. There are some healthy bars that are really good for you. I believe one of them is called, I want to say it's School. I have the link. I'm going to send it to you. But there's certain bars that are more healthier than others. And the other thing that I tell parents is check the ingredient list in the back. Like, don't just look at a packaging and be like, oh, this has like, I don't know, it has protein. That must be good. So a lot of the times is, hey, turn the bag around, understand the nutrient and understand what's in the actual ingredient list, right? And avoid things that say like citric acid, natural flavors. These are all code words for disaster at a gut level. Are they going to fill you up if they have good protein? Yes. Are they the cleanest? Not necessarily, but there's a lot of stuff that's probably a little bit better. Let's see, what else I would tell you to pack for them. More importantly, I would avoid things like cookies, the regular chips, like the Doritos and all this stuff. I would avoid that, and maybe Siete, even though it just got bought out by Pepsi. So once again, keep looking at the ingredient list, because once a company gets bought out by a large company, it tends to go down the toilet. The other thing that I see is that they tend to snack on things that they drink.
That was going to be my next question.
Drinkable snacks. So guys,
like the kids, they
calories,
love like the Celsius and stuff like that.
Because they're crashing energy and they need energy. That's the problem.
They can live off of those. They could, have 2 and 3 of those.
And it causes heart issues.
Yes.
So it's so bad for them. So what I rather they actually have coffee. Yeah, like legit, have coffee. Like if your kid is asking, I'd rather they have like good, clean coffee. If they're looking for that energy boost, then have all these things that have a million things that are going to cause either heart conditions and palpitations and all this other things. The other big thing to talk about is if you're really trying to not gain weight, you cannot be drinking your snacks, because this is what happens. So a let's say a teenager that's dancing 2-3 hours a day, she should probably, she's like maybe 14, 15 years old, she should maybe be having anywhere between 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day, okay? Whole foods of actual like food, right? But what happens? These kids are not eating because they don't eat breakfast, because I've asked at all these schools, they don't eat breakfast. Half of them either have like a yogurt if we're lucky.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they start so early in the morning that they're not hungry yet.
Right. Well, they're not hungry because that's a hormonal issue. That means that they're leptin resistant. That's a hormone. That's a whole scientific thing, but you've accustomed your body to not eat. And so that hormone that is supposed to be telling you, especially if you didn't eat since the night before, hey, I'm hungry, I need sustenance, I need energy, because it's the starting of the day, I'm going to go out there and I have to go do stuff. Once that hormone, you've told it to be quiet for a long period of time, like I'm not going to pay attention, it stops signaling you. That's what actual metabolic downgrading is, right? So your body's operating up here, and I say this all the time, and I'm going to look at the camera for this, okay, is that we rev our bodies up here expecting our children and even ourselves to be functioning and going at 1,000 miles an hour. We feed ourselves whole nutritious foods at this level. Your body is inherently intelligent and says, okay, fine, you're going to do this to me because I'm at war. Basically, think about it like this. I'm in like, I got to fight. I got to do this because I am up here. And this is what needs to happen right now. But you're feeding me. I'm in starvation mode. I'm going to start down-regulating every single body system, right? And it starts with hormones. That's the first things to go. And so it starts to go until it says, okay, here. When you do that for a prolonged period of time, you start getting all the bells and all the alarms hitting off, right? You get the bad periods. You get the crazy bleeding. You get the headaches all the time. You get the mood swings. You get the eczema, you get the acne. Once you start going into deeper and longer periods of time, you start getting all of the SIBO, and you start getting all of these like gluten intolerances and all of these issues gut-wise. Then once that goes, that's your immune system, guys. 70% of our immune system sits in our gut. Then we start having like, okay, you start getting sick, and we have to pray to God that we're not getting sick with things that really are a big deal. Right? Yeah. Like cancer and diseases, the big time guys, right? A lot of kids nowadays are pre-diabetic.
Yeah.
I mean, this is insane, you guys.
Crazy,
like
yeah.
it's crazy to me. And it's because we've been taught wrong, and we just live a life that is not intentional when it comes to food. And going back to originally what I was talking about is our relationship with food. What is it? It really is like, I'll eat whenever I'm hungry, right? Well, no, because you've downregulated your body to the point where your body's not even signaling you anymore, because it's already tired of trying to talk to you and you weren't listening. It's like the boyfriend you stopped, the parent you didn't want to listen to, or the boyfriend you don't want to hear to, they're like, you know what, I'm going to break up with you. That's basically what your body's doing. It's saying, fine. And so part of it, and what I tell people is like, start small. Once again, start with breakfast. Start with having a small breakfast. Start with just a yogurt and some fruit and some honey. You're going to see that at school, you're going to feel completely different. Pack that for your kid. Pack, if you have to put a little ice packet in the book bag. But it has to be intentional, guys. It has to be like, yeah, is it work? Yes. Is this work? 100%. I tell people, this is work, or this is hard. It's a better word, hard. Choose your hard, though. Because feeling like crap, living on Celsius drinks, crashing all the time, being in bad moods and mentally not well, right? And depression and all these things, that's hard.
No, and when you
That's
get
really
older,
hard.
when you get older, that you can't exercise anymore. You're tired all the time. You don't have energy. Your body gives up on you. That's hard.
You gain weight.
Yeah, and you can't lose it. It doesn't go away.
Exactly. It's a lot harder to burn. Let me touch upon that, because I think this is really important, is that the whole, like, the less I eat, the skinnier I'll be. Yeah, because you're starving yourself and creating disease. So let's put that, here's that little bucket, right? What ends up happening if you start to eat properly and not drink your calories and over drink your calories in reality, and you're doing this what ends up happening is that you build muscle, you sustain your body, perform better, you have a clearer mind, you don't gain weight. You actually don't gain weight, because what ends up happening what you tell your body is when you're not eating, your body goes, wait a minute, she just fed me, I'm going to hold on to that. and I'm going to store it as fat because I don't know when I'm going to get fed again. And that's why if the fat won't go away, that's exactly what happens. Your body is intelligent. It's in survival mode, and it's going to do anything and everything to survive. So how do we get out of survival mode? Abundance, right? When we don't lack anything. And now your body, you have to retrain your body and your metabolism to ramp back up. It's funny because people are like, why are you always hungry? I'm like, because I've adapted my body to speak to me and tell me when I needs food and what it needs. And it's funny because I'll be like, I'm hungry. And I look at the time, I'm like, that's right. It's time for me to eat. And I have to stop and I go eat and I choose something healthy. You know, it could be where if I have to drive in somewhere or if I have to get something at home. But it took me a minute. I was a typical entrepreneur. I never ate breakfast. I would eat lunch at the office, I don't know, on a good day at 2 o'clock. On a bad day, 4 or 5 o'clock, right? And I would get home and eat dinner about 9 or 10. And on the outside, I looked okay because I'm one of those people. But I'll be honest with you, one of the biggest reasons I got out of the business is because I was ending up in the ER probably once or twice a month. Yeah. Nobody knew that. I kept it really quiet. Wow. But I would end up being in the ER. I had a million gut issues and got to the point where I had insomnia and I had high blood pressure and I was like 42. Yeah. I was revving the body up here and I wasn't feeding it because I didn't have time. Because my relationship with food was like, I'll eat whenever I can or when I have like, when I'm absolutely ready to crash and die. And that's it. And then I was also working out like a maniac because I don't work out to like look good. I work out for mental health. It's honestly public safety. Like I work out as public safety. I always say that. I'm like, I will kill somebody if I don't work out. But I've been an athlete my whole life. And so I have to keep moving. But imagine that's creating even more stress in the body. Exercise is great, but it's still a stressor.
Yeah.
It's a stressor.
And the more you exercise, the more you have to feed yourself because you can't keep up. Like your body would just, again, injury comes from there. Yeah. You're tired. All that starts happening. And then, the workout is just a waste because you're not feeding yourself to be able to keep up with that workout.
So I love that what you just said about injuries. So that's actually a really good topic or something to mention, I should say, is that especially when you have an injury, if you want to heal and heal properly, the main thing is inflammation. How do we create inflammation in the body? With having blood sugar issues, meaning those constant highs and lows. That is the quickest way to create inflammation at a level that we don't see. It's not just the bloating. It's what's happening at a cellular level. And I don't want to get super scientific here and bore everybody. But if you actually want to heal and heal better, the idea is to put all the right vitamins and minerals into your body so that your body has the tools to go heal itself. And then you can go back out there and perform. Yeah, you might need physical therapy. You might need whatever it is that you need. But nutrition is the everyday. With my husband, that's one of the biggest things that I understood. I'm like, yeah, chemo is every 2 weeks. That's going to bombard the body. But what are we doing? And what is our power and our responsibility to our bodies, right? Because this is our responsibility. Our bodies are our responsibility. It houses our soul. It houses, if you're religious, like you have to understand that this is our temple, right? What has more impact? What you do 3 times a day, at least, or every time you put something in your body, or chemo twice a week? I mean, once every 2 weeks. It's what you're putting in your body constantly. Mm-hmm. That has a bigger impact, especially long term. So it's weird because I never saw life like that until, of course, we hit a wall.
Yeah, you were forced.
And that's why I tell you, I'm like, wow, I really thought I was healthy. We were so unhealthy. Just because we didn't smoke, we didn't drink much, we're not big partiers, we were athletes. We thought we had all the boxes checked off. No, because it's not just what you eat, it's when you eat it as well. So that's important. Like when you're going for 5-6 hours without eating.
Yeah, and the dancers are the worst about that because they go to studio till so late. They're getting home at 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and then having dinner at that time. Right. And it's so bad for them. And, that's why the next morning they wake up and it's like, go, 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 go. And everything is, pushed back. They have late lunch. They have late dinner. So their body just gets used to that. And I don't know. Like, I think back, I don't know how I survived that way, how I survived being young.
Well, because your body is going to, like what I told you, your body is going to adapt. It's going to do whatever it takes to survive. But you're just know that word is 100% correct. You're in survival. Mm-hmm. You're not thriving. Are you going to survive? Yeah. Your body is going to do whatever it takes. Now, so what is my advice to every single person is understand that this is happening and take ownership, just like you would with anything else, right? Like, okay, this is an issue. And I really want to intentionally be healthy, and I want my kids to be healthy. I'm going to create a pause in the system. Like I said, New Year's resolution, people, we're in the perfect time. This is happening right at the perfect time, okay? Is I'm going to, 1, get educated. 2, I'm going to start with something as simple as breakfast. And it doesn't need to be a full sit down. When we started, we went from crappy cereals in a plastic cup running out the door. That was our lives, and that's what I was feeding my children. Okay, and I was running to the office and my husband off to work. Typical life, guys. To the point where now we have a full, I know when I say this, everybody's like, but I don't care because I'm very proud of it now. I'm bougie about certain things now. We have a full sit-down breakfast every morning. And people are like, how the hell did you do that? I'm like, first of all, it was intentional. I didn't start here. 2, the better you feel, the more you want to do it. Mm-hmm. And 3, you start incorporating new ways and creative ways of doing things. When you want something, aren't you going to make the time for it?
You figure it out.
Right, man. You figure it out. Yeah. And my kids are like, okay, yeah, I totally feel better. My daughter had a lot of anxiety. She suffered a lot of anxiety with this whole thing with the cancer. And she was actually like one of the ones that, like, she tells me, she's like, Mommy, when I don't eat, I really feel it. Like, I feel the difference in class, you know? And it's funny because I think that the younger the kids are, the easier it is for them to tell you. They really are more connected to themselves. They haven't overridden the system for as long. So the younger they are, the more likely that they are to tell you, hey, pay attention kind of thing. But yeah, I would say start small, start with breakfast, be intentional. It could be yogurt, some fruit, and even like a protein shake. I'm not a lover of protein shakes, but start with the protein shake. That's how I did with my son, you know? And then from there, you start to scale. Now I have recipes that are 100% chicken waffles. So we make chicken waffles and we batch them. So I take chicken breasts, we boil them. You know, I take like a whole, like with the what's that, wild fork? Like the bag. Yeah. So it's a bunch of chicken breasts, we boil them. And then we put them through the food processor, and I put a little bit of seasoning in it. And then we put egg. And we blend all that, and we make the batter. And I have a little waffle maker thing. And so we make the waffles, and we batch them for like 3 or 4 days out of the week. And then now our breakfast is like, we always have eggs. I'm really big on eggs. So we'll have 2 or 3 or 4 eggs, depending on who it is. Like my daughter and I will have 2 eggs. The boys will have about 4 eggs. Chicken waffles, which is protein. And we have
not to be confused with chicken and waffles,
right? Which is delicious, and I'm all for as well, depending on where you're getting it. If it's homemade, go knock yourself out. So chicken waffles is amazing. Maple syrup, and then like sourdough bread and butter. Like I'm talking about, there is a full plate, you know, of food, and then we actually have some milk and coffee. Like my daughter has coffee. Like this is where we've gotten, guys, but we didn't start there, right? The other thing is, like I said, continue to pack healthy snacks, but be aware of your caloric intake per day and what your kids should be at. So to touch upon that is, if your child is a teenager and she's dancing and moving her body 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day, she's spending a lot of energy, and basically your body will eat itself if you're not eating. That's basically what's happening. Yeah. You should be hitting at least 2,000 calories. Okay, at least 2,000 for a girl, 2,000 calories per day of food. You can have some of this as drinks, like a protein shake and maybe, I don't know, 1 bar, things like that, but not where you're replacing those snacks for food. Pack their lunch. Unless you maybe go to a school that has like a really good lunch option. You know, sometimes that's a give or take, but I know. Columbus, my son goes to Columbus. It's not horrible.
Yeah. No, at Lourdes, they have really good lunches.
Yeah, at Lourdes, and they have a lot of options.
Exactly. So that, and then I think another thing that they really need to have is be intentional about having maybe a little packed snack that's maybe food-wise for that before practice. So my daughter plays soccer, and it's very similar. You know, she's going to be out there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I actually give her pasta and chicken before a practice. She has the simple carb for the energy to go run for the next 2 hours. She's got protein. It's not a huge snack, so she doesn't feel bogged down and doesn't want to throw up from running. But she'll eat that like as we're, maybe an hour and a half before. And she eats that either on the car or whatever before she gets to where we're going. And she feels good. She feels like ready to go do whatever she's going to do. I think that part is really critical for dancers because of what you're saying. And then, if you have to eat late at night, guys, that's a stage of life that you're in. Is it the healthiest? No, but that's the phase of life you're in. Like right now, we're in that too. We eat dinner on a good day at 8 o'clock. Most of the time we're eating dinner close to 9:30 sometimes. Like if both kids are playing something and they're in different parts of town, we're eating at 9 o'clock at night. Is that the healthiest option? No, absolutely not. But is it real and is it better for you to just go ahead and feed your kid? Yeah, 100%. Doesn't need to be perfect. That's the other thing. Never shoot for perfection. That's crap. Shoot for realistic and healthy, right? And progress. That's why I tell you, start small and then scale from there.
And what works for you, because what works for one person doesn't work for somebody else.
Right.
And what I need might not be what you need. So everybody is a little different. And I think that that's important that, you've touched upon like all these basic things, but everybody has to cater to what works for their family or for what they need, because we're all very different.
So, yes. So that mayhem and how you structure what needs to happen looks different for everybody. Calories, amount of protein, fat, and carbs, that's all within certain age ranges and activity level. So like I said, dancers, try and hit 2,000 calories a day. If anybody's a teenager, maybe 1,600 to 1,800 calories if you're like a 9 or 10-year-old because you're dancing 3-4 hours a day. Protein levels, think about it in terms of like 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per body weight. So example, I'm 140 pounds. I should have about 140 grams of protein a day, right? It's hard. You have to be really intentional to do that. Because for me, when I'm counting, and it doesn't have to be like exact, and this is the other thing I want to tell you, ChatGPT is our best friend, people. Yeah. Let's go. Let's use it. Okay? Let's use it. This is a good hack, okay? You are going to say, hi, ChatGPT, be nice, because it's listening to everything. Yeah. You never know if they're going to take over. Yes, you never know if they're going to take over later. But so please create a meal plan for the week for my daughter who's X amount. What is the ideal caloric intake? She is a dance. Describe exactly who your kid is as far as activity level, where she's at, like age, how tall she is. Give it that. What is the suggested? Tell it that she's exercising X amount of hours per day, and ask it to break down for you total calorie intake. So this is part of the prompt. Total caloric intake and macro breakdown. Macro breakdown means it's going to actually tell you how much protein, healthy fat, and carbs she should be having in a day. Then go ahead and ask it, create an example meal for me, okay, for like a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. So you start to see what these sample menus look like. And first of all, what is that calories and the breakdown of the macros, and then a real life example of it. ChatGPT is amazing because it's not that it replaces people like me who are practitioners that really are going to, that's why I tell you it's therapy and it's rewiring the mind and a lot of other things, but that's data, that's science and math. And once you understand that and you have the sample menu, then you're like, you know what, from this menu, I'm going to pick one thing I'm going to do for a week, and we're going to hone in on that. We're going to do one thing really well this week. If your life is super complicated, I'm going to do one thing really well for a month. It becomes a habit.
Yeah.
It becomes easier and easier because then it's like anything, you do it enough, you're like, oh, you already do it without even thinking about it. And you start rewiring things. That's probably one of the best advices that I give when I speak at the schools. I'm like, guys, we're all using ChatGPT for a million other stupid things. Use it for this. Have it be like your little nutritional assistant. And the other really cool hack is a great hack. You can take a picture, like open your refrigerator door. You can take a picture of your refrigerator, upload it to ChatGPT, and ask it to build a meal for you
With what you have.
With what you have,
cool.
With hitting these calories and these macros that it originally suggested for you to have. Like have it, it continues the thread. So it teaches you, it tells you, and it'll link the information from the previous maybe chat that you had with it. So based on what my daughter should be eating, here's a picture of what's in my refrigerator. What are the snacks that I should pack for her for today because she's, she's going to competition or she has a performance. Let it kick it back to you, and it'll tell you with what you have right then and there.
Yeah, you've got nothing to lose. What's the worst thing? I didn't like what you told me. Tell me something else.
Right.
Exactly. And then,
maybe something else.
Yeah. No, and get creative with it.
Yeah.
Like, because it goes back to the flavor. So, like, even with little kids, how do I get a little kid to eat, like, hummus? Or color is a big deal for little kids. So, kids like nothing green.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be pink or red or fun colors like purple or blues, right? So, make something that's in there, not food dye, but an actual thing. So, for instance, beets. Beets are amazing. I make hummus from scratch. We put beets into it, and now it's pink, and it's so cute. And now you can have them, like, play with it, and then they have carrots, and you can make little shapes, like, for the parents that have younger kids. Like, this is how we introduce these foods without it being a fight. You got to get creative, and you got to be doing it, and changing their taste buds. But, yeah.
Well, you've given us some really great advice today. And I think there's a lot of people out there that, they probably have a lot of questions. So if there's a way that they can contact you or, to have a one-on-one with you or just get some information, how can they contact you?
Okay, so the best way is obviously Instagram. Let's be real. It's like everybody's go-to. So that's Liz Nieves 08. On there, you'll have my link tree. You can schedule a call with me. You can download the macro guide, the ultimate plate. Guys, go ahead and download that. I've got it in Spanish and I've got it in English, thanks to ChatGPT, not because I'm so fluent. I'm not that good. So the English was 100% written by me, not ChatGPT. I did use it to translate it into Spanish. So if you have any of those grandparents that are helping you take care of the kids, that's another reason that I did it. And I do have a lot of cancer patients that only speak Spanish, but so there's that. You can schedule a call with me there, and then I'm trying to produce more and more content that really is informative to people and like little bite-sized information. Yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me, I think.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I think that we've learned a lot from you today.
Yes, we have.
I'm definitely going to be bringing you in to talk to my dancers because they for sure need a little tutoring to make it through competition season. Yeah. So
no, and they're just so fun too. Like there's such an age that these kids know that they need what they need. They're hungry too. No pun intended. But they're really hungry to learn. And so that's one of the things that I've seen when I go and speak to them, and they're just so cool. Yeah. At this age, they're cool. They think they're cool, and they really are because they're cute and still so innocent, and they're hungry to be better. Yeah. For sure. And so I actually enjoy them probably more than they might enjoy me. I'm not sure. I'm just like, I also want to be them again, right? Like, I know. So much fun to be that age. I know. Yeah. But with what I know now.
And really, they do appreciate when they hear this kind of information. They want to know about it, and they want to be better on the stage and when they compete and when they perform and in class, and they understand that a lot has to do with their nutrition. So
yeah, I've had parents DM me, like I've spoken at schools, and I've had parents DM me and be like, okay, so my daughter, I want to thank you. This was the best one I got. One mom DM'd me and she said, obviously because I send the thing out with the teacher sends my information out. And she DM'd me and she said, I just want to say thank you to you because my daughter wants to go grocery shopping with me. Just from everything that you taught her. She's being really intentional. She really loved everything that you had talked about. And now she wants to go grocery shopping with me. So this is amazing. So I really appreciate you coming out. I was like, okay, that was the win for the week. Right. That makes you feel so good. I was in heaven. I was like, oh my God. Like now I'm really making a difference, right? Like they get to hang out, mother, daughter. They're doing something together that's intentional. They're getting healthy together. They're sharing time. Like I was like, you know what? Like perfect. That's it. I can retire. That was awesome.
Well, thank you so much for being with us here today. We really enjoyed it, and I'm sure our listeners did too. And for those of you there, thank you so much for joining us in our episode with Liz.
And if you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram. And if you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to click on the link tree in our bio and fill out our Google form.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.